Okay. It is spot on 5 o'clock, so shall we get started? Because I know you've got a very exciting evening for us.
I hope so.
So can I introduce Dr. Cath Arnold? So I've had the pleasure of working with Cath for many, many years. So in fact, you retired and I came in, but then you've still worked with me for a long time.
Yeah, for a while.
Absolutely, and she's been my guru in terms of schemas. And what you don't know, I don't know, who knows? So I'm going to hand over to Cath to share with all of us some of her amazing knowledge around children and schemas. So over to you, Cath.
Hi, everyone. I'm really pleased to meet you, even though it's online. It would be much better face-to-face for me, but I think we're lucky to have this opportunity. I'd like to say, before I start, I am still learning all the time from children. It's all about observing children and noticing what they're doing. Most of the clips I've got to show you tonight and most of the examples are from my 6 grandchildren who range in age from 33 down to 7. So, and I've also got 2 great-grandchildren. I haven't included them in this presentation, but next week when I talk about schemas and emotions, which is the later work, I will mention them as well. I've done quite a few studies as well of children in nursery, but obviously my grandchildren I'm still very much in touch with, so I can get ongoing permissions and stuff to share. And 3 of them I've written books about as well, which you probably know. So the title this evening is Understanding Children Exploring Through Schemas. And you've got Gabby on the front sheet. You'll see Gabby quite a bit. That was my most recent book. That was her lining up dice in the living room. I wanted to start off by finding out, what do you understand schemas to be? So if you want to put any ideas in the chat or just jot down some ideas, or if you're brave enough, speak up, just so I get an idea of where people are at with schemas. Give you a couple of minutes to think about that.
There we are.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah, the ways children move, line up, toys, play with toys, etc. Patterns, yes, I totally agree with that. Patterns of learning, yeah, that's a really good description. Yeah, they're great ideas. So you do have an idea, or some of you do, of what we're talking about. And I think tonight's really about deepening that knowledge, because you've probably all been observing children for many years, as I have, and you kind of learn from the children what they're doing and what they're learning. So the definition that I use, which is quite a simple one, so schemas are patterns of repeated actions that help us to learn, and all humans explore through patterns. I quite like Alison Gopnik's work. She doesn't talk particularly about schemas, but she talks about patterns quite a lot. So I think I can see similarities in that. A really important point about schemas, before I knew what schemas were or really had an understanding, my only clue about children's interests was what they were playing with. And I can remember in my early days at Pen Green, a child being interested in clocks, and we did a big clock display all around, clocks from around the world and different types of clocks, which you can probably see on the screen, that kind of thing. But when I started to learn about schemas, I started to notice what children were doing with what they were playing with, not just the content, but the form or schema. So if they were interested in clocks, some children might be interested in circularity and rotating. So there's a lots more content you can offer the children from which they can learn. These are just some examples. I remember following a little boy in nursery, and he went into the home corner and he started fiddling with all the knobs, turning the knobs. And then he picked up a doll and he turned her head around, which I could have perceived as being quite negative, but I thought he must be into rotating and wanting to understand how that works. So we set up a table with various things that rotated, like a globe and some kind of rotating whisks and stuff like that. And he was totally absorbed. So I think in that instance, we got it right for him. So in the early 90s, I carried out my master's study. And for that, I studied four children alongside their parents and workers. Parents made observations at home, and the workers made observations in nursery, and I filmed the children. And these were the most commonly observed schemas we saw across 18 months with 4 children. So, you know, just have a look at the list and see if you recognize things. And are there any others that you'd like to mention that you've observed? Because there are other schemas. These are just the most common ones, I think, that we've seen or that I saw at that time. Okay, if you haven't got anything to add, I'll continue. So I'm going to show you some examples. Oh, sorry, transformation. Now this is debatable, actually. If you've watched the blog on schemas and maths with Colette Tate and Flavia Ribera, they talked about this. We were taught by Chris Athey and Tina Bruce, Chris Athey was my guru, that transformation is the result of an action, not an actual action. So you transform your arms by putting paint on them, you make them look different, but that's an enveloping action. So, you know, you might use different actions that transform things. I know some writers do name transformation as a schema, and it's very, very important part of the process of the kind of functional dependency of schemas. But whether it's actually a schema, I'm not quite sure.
Somebody's put positioning.
Positioning, yeah, that's another one that, yeah, I would say quite hard to understand as well, the positioning one, I think. But, you know, if you've got examples, that's great. Anything else anybody wants to add? I'm not saying transformation's wrong. I'm just saying it's debatable. And Chris Athey was such a stickler for following the theory that, you know, it was quite difficult to disagree with her. Well, you could disagree with her, but she had a lot of evidence to share, which hopefully I have as well. Okay, shall we continue? Okay, this is Gabby when she was under a year, I think. Where's the... Pop showed you banging on the... I'll just show you that because she seems to be intent on that up-down movement, which you can't miss it really. And the irony is she's 12 now and she's a drummer, believe it or not. And she has a real passion for drumming. She has a lesson at school and she also goes on Saturday for lessons. And she was Musician of the Year final this year as a drummer. So, but it doesn't always connect as easily as that. This is Gabby and her sister playing in the garden. Again, the ball moves in a trajectory. They're playing with their dad.
again. Ready?
Nearly went over, didn't it? Yeah. I won't show the whole thing. It's just examples, really. This is her at 6 playing with a badminton racket in my living room. No, it's not a nursery, it's a living room.
Relate.
Very good.
I think it's a keepy-uppy game, isn't it? Excellent. Okay, you could see there was quite a lot of skill involved there, being 6 years old. And this is a very short clip, something else they absolutely love, her and her sister, at Firman Woods, the zip wire. So those experiences, you know, continued. So trajectories are moving lines that come and go. So they're dynamic. That's some of the language you'll see in the literature. And when we line up objects, we can see the line. So that's the static aspect. So these are other examples, really. This is my dining room table with various things lined up. This was Eloise's with her daughter. Some of her drawings lined up. And this is Harry. Now, I have to say, he was 3, and I got short golf clubs for him to practice with, but this is what he did with them.
You're welcome. It's not like my name, really. It's more like your name than anyone's, I think.
I think if you can hear that, he's asking his mum, is that your name? But it does look like an H. So she's saying to him, it looks more like your name. So the positioning of the golf clubs, he notices the shape and he recognises it, which I think is quite important, actually. This is Reese, who's my youngest grandson. He had a lot of Schemas, but one of them was transporting, and you can see how intent he is in pushing this wheelbarrow along. This is Gabby again.
Have you got some more?
There's a bowl of glass beads in my conservatory, and she's transporting them out to the table outside.
Whoops. Mama? Mama! Can you get some more? Okay.
Alarm was for me to take a tablet. Sorry.
You got more glass beads? How lovely. They're really nice, aren't they?
Yes, you're going to get some more? You got some more, have you? This is much later in the process. You see how many she's... Oh, and ants, yes. Yeah, very nice. So, in a way, Gabby has transformed the look of the glass beads. They were in a bowl all together and she's placed them in a line. I think there were 39 all together. So that kind of transformation is a lot of what children do when they're learning about conservation of amount. So in the bowl, they might look less than they look in the line. These are the sort of experiments that Piaget did as well with children to check if they understood that it was the same amount if they spread them out or had them close together. So you'll see children doing this a lot. And it can be quite annoying, actually, if they're moving stuff around in your environment. But if you know what they're learning, it's worth having the patience to allow them to do that, I think, anyway, personally. This little girl is not my grandchild. This is Lindsay. She was in my master's study in the 90s, but she had a very, very strong enclosing schema. You couldn't avoid seeing it, really. So I think it was worth including this, just so you could see the different ways she was enclosing. Clay people, painting, and blocks. Then this is Anya, my granddaughter, one of my granddaughters, enclosing some cars at 3 years, 6 months. And this is Anya when she was 4. We bought them, her and her brother were both into trajectories. So we bought them this dartboard and some Velcro kind of beanbag things to throw at it. But what did she do? Get inside. And if you've, I don't know if the case study's online yet. Anya's the case study that I've done. I don't think it's online yet.
I think the blog's online, but the case study's not yet.
Well, there'll be a case study online that's all about Anya. And she was doing this right from she was about 8 months old, going inside things, feeling how big they were, understanding how much space there was. So you'll see how that connects. And then this was her writing when she was a little bit older. So you see she goes all around the edge and then does hers and her brother's names backwards for some reason. So enclosing and enveloping are quite closely linked. This is Gabby enveloping when she was under 3. Her mum told me she used to play the tea towel game. So this was her at home getting all the tea towels out and spreading them out on the floor. And you can see how that links with maths, with the area that you cover. And then at our house, she got all the napkins out and started covering stools with napkins. So she's kind of almost estimating what will fit and the space. And then at nursery, she was enveloping with corn flour and water, which is a lovely feeling. Shall I pause there just to say, are any of these familiar to you? If you put something in the chat.
Case studies released tomorrow.
All right, case study tomorrow, that'd be good.
Has anybody got any thoughts or reflections?
Yeah.
Very familiar, says Sally.
Oh, good, good. I'm glad to hear that. And it's knowing what to do about it, isn't it? Because I didn't know at first. It's learning how to make the most of the schemas. Chris Arthur used to say, feed the schema. So if you recognise a pattern, offer more resources that the child can use to explore that pattern, and they'll expand their knowledge. I was thinking earlier, it's like, for me, it's like driving. My husband learned to drive at 17. He was in the army, so he drove all sorts of different vehicles and is very confident. And he had a motorbike as well. And if you drew up at our front door with a Rolls Royce, he'd want to have a go. Whereas I learned at 29 with 3 young children. I drive only my own car, and I just don't have the experience that he's had.
There are 3
From
here.
teaching older
We've
children.
got, yes, lining up toys in a
Yeah.
safety way, holding small.
Yeah, lovely.
Yes, familiar in nursery and reception. I think this is lovely as well. From teaching older children, key stage 1 and key stage 2, it's great to see the more complex concepts
brilliant.
you've taken back.
Oh, that's Danny. I know Danny.
But it's so true, though, isn't
Yeah.
it? You know,
Yeah, brilliant.
for
Yeah.
people that have missed those opportunities and experiences.
Yes, that's the key, really, isn't it? Yeah.
I think also as early years practitioners, there's so much pressure on us to be doing stuff. Less so, I think, with the new framework in terms of just sitting back and watching and observing. But Schemas really gives you that lens, doesn't it? To be able to...
to know where the child is wanting to go.
And I always think it's fascinating to feed it. To think about
to feed it,
the example you gave right at the beginning of the session about, you know, getting the table filled with lots of things that would support a child to rotate.
Yeah.
That's the exciting part of being a practitioner, isn't it?
So here's another example of enveloping. This is a video one. This is Reese at 23 months. And you'll see what he's trying to do. He's got the cloth from his mum's glasses case. Takes him a minute or two because his bench has moved out a bit.
That was my favourite.
Which is your favourite, Annie? Those ones.
I love the concentration when they're really trying to do something, don't you?
No!
She finds it himself just now, wasn't
Mama, tell us to take the glasses. You put the glasses up, Ruth? Yeah, can I take the plaster?
Good plaster. Oh dear me, how posh.
Is your hand feeling better now?
Good job we don't let him play still.
It hurts.
Okay, leave it on a little while then. You're trying to wrap that one up?
Mum, the plaster is...
You put that
the
down
plaster
then.
is still out, Mummy.
Is it? So what do you think? If we put that one over, and you put that side over.
Yeah.
There we go. All wrapped up. You pick it up.
Is it for me, Kate? Yeah. Mine, it says, good.
Changes his mind.
You're not angry. That's what
Thank you.
Reese is the child that features in my blog. So he's 7 now, but this was him when he was much younger. This is another example. So enveloping and containing seem to be very closely linked.
Hello, the envelope.
Oh, I see.
And then on the next page, you put one in the middle and then you have some, and you see a match on there. You keep it to yourself, turn it over.
So it's another matching game.
Yeah.
Is there another comment
it's
there?
on 2 pages.
I see.
One further up. Oh, that's lovely, isn't it? Yeah, yeah.
If you have to match, you put it on top.
So this goes on for quite a while. I won't play the whole thing, but he just keeps putting them in and taking them out. And his sister comes to help, but her concern is completely different. She wants to place the discs on the squares, like a one-to-one correspondence. So I'm going to stop it there because I don't want to.
Oh, thank you, Anya.
Oh, this is him again at my house. I have various resources hanging around, as you probably see. An old pillbox and some raffle tickets he chooses to play with on this occasion, and he's with his Auntie Colette. all seems to become more refined, actually, I think. Although he's slightly younger here than he was in the last clip.
Yeah, they're all full up. Maybe it's got space in that one, space in that one, and space in that one. Turn it round. Good idea.
I think raffle tickets are amazing for children. I've always used them. Any left over from a raffle, I snaffle them.
Snaffle them.
Yeah, still got one in, isn't it? Space in there. Oh, there's 2 left now.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. They're all full.
Exactly, don't penalise just yet. We've made that mistake in the past, getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. We know how much these optional dives can change the leaderboard right in the last minute often. So, Ukraine with a lot of work to do, ever so slightly better. These are the defending champions, Russia, a bit of a mistake.
Can you open it?
In round 3,
Apron all of them. We'll fold it up nice and small and put it in with another piece. Want me to open one? Which one would you like me to open? Oh, you did it.
Supposed to be childproof, these, I think. But I don't think they are.
I don't look here.
Oh.
Are you beginning to see a link with the maths?
That was a struggle.
Especially with this one, I think.
What's lovely as well is the resources are just like everyday stuff.
Yeah, not necessarily toys, but there's scope to use them in different ways, isn't there? I think he's kind of checking there's one in each.
I've only got one bit of paper. You could put another piece in.
She's trying to persuade him to put it in with another one, but it's taken a bit of persuasion.
The things that aren't designed for children to play with that are brilliant for them. You closed all the blue ones. Oh, it's closed.
The dexterity, though, in terms of, you know, pushing it down, moving around,
the skill and
scrunching it
everything,
up.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Closed.
Okay, so do the maths come across to you in what he's doing? What do you think he's kind of thinking about? Sorry, I meant to move on. Yes, absolutely, yeah, definitely. And one-to-one correspondence, which you don't always think about, but if you sit round a table with 3 or 4-year-olds and a child counts how many people are there, they'll often not make a one-to-one correspondence. They'll just kind of move their hand around saying the numbers. I've tried this out loads of times, and it's quite rare for children to realise, even at 3, that you just say each number and touch each object once. So I think that kind of play leads up to that understanding, really. This is Anya, 8 months. I think I mentioned earlier that she liked to find spaces, and in this case, she had to be rescued by her mum. This was in Australia we were visiting because they were born there. So, yeah, but she's very much into space. This is Harry and Georgia in my garden again. I'm only going to show a bit of this because I've got a lot more to share. So they've got golf balls with holes in, and also this post that you can see, there's actually 2 posts and there's a gap in the middle, which I think Harry discovers. So she's 5 and he's 3. So she's more concerned with putting the small stones in the balls.
It's small. If it fits in the hole.
So again, it's about space and I'm not going to play too much of this. Oh, I know there's another bit that's really good. Just try and get.
It's in the hole and it can come out then.
There's another bit that comes towards the end. So he's discovered he can put them through there, which is not as refined, I suppose. And then on the same occasion, he's arranged a towel over a chair. It's a tunnel. So doing with his whole body what he's been doing with these stones. Rotating is very, very common. And I know quite a few of you have mentioned children with special educational needs. And, you know, sometimes, well, they say that children get stuck on a schema, but I still think with a need like that, maybe they need to explore a bit more. And, you know, you can offer them things to explore that schema with. This was Gabby at her own home, rotating, I think. And then she visited my daughters and noticed this bowl. The satisfaction tells you that you're getting it right, doesn't it? And now she's at my house with the rotating stools. Going round and round, isn't it? See Teddy Tim's on the floor, Danny. Take Teddy Tim into school.
You want to be on it? Well, come here then. Come closer to me. It's a roundabout, isn't it? Round and round and round. She's thinking about the fan.
Body experience for her.
I don't, yeah, it's the whole body experience is important, isn't it? And then this one's the final one.
She's 3 years, 2 months at this point.
3 years,
I'm
2
really
months.
enjoying the rotation. Very, very fast.
Hold on then. Hold on. We're all the way at the bottom now.
So by this stage, she realizes that when you rotate it, it goes down or up. So she's saying, I want to go at the top really fast. So she's really enjoying it. And I think the enjoyment and the laughter is infectious, isn't it? This was some of her first drawings, which were shared with me by nursery and school. So this was one of her first spiders. And then a bit later on, the poo people with chicken pox is the bottom one.
You can see the rotation and the trajectory.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you can see where it comes from. Yeah. And then this was after she started school. Her teacher shared this one with us. And you can see she's trying to write a name at the top as well as do all the other marks and pretend writing that you can see. So connecting is another strong schema. And when Harry was 3, he had a really strong inclination to connect. And these are some of the things that he liked to connect with. This is him with string in our kitchen, tying up the kitchen. He has that kind of concentration as well that Reese has, I think.
Look very similar. Really?
Yeah.
No, it has to be open. Yeah. When in fact on the side, more joy that don't work.
That's the golf club?
Yeah. In the car park cover. Don't work.
In the car park?
Yeah.
What
There's people want to do there.
All right. We were looking at fur cones in Safeway yesterday, weren't we? Saying we're going to go to the golf club, ask Mop to take us to the golf club and collect some. Remember? And we were going to paint them. Yeah. Some Christmas decorations.
That's what they
Remember
do
a
at
brother doing
Safeway,
it.
isn't it? When we do that, how do you split them? Where are the apples?
Over there, darling. Which one you come to?
This one.
The one on the left.
Must be nearly finished, I think.
That
Yeah,
one.
I'll stop it there. It's just directing her to the... So I've got some more questions for you. Are any of these patterns familiar to you? Which there are some examples in the chat. Are there any you feel you have to redirect or stop children from exploring? So have a little think about how you respond. I know tying up the environment might not be appropriate in every environment. And can you remember exploring any of these patterns as a child?
Yeah.
Yeah. Making tents and covers and things like that, I think is very common if children are allowed to do it. Yeah. Yeah, it's quite common, I think.
My husband's a scatterer, so clothes come off and all over the floor, and I'm the container and put it all away.
Yeah. I'm a bit of a scatterer, I'm afraid. My husband calls it my floor drobe.
Your floor
all the things spread out on the floor and all the books piled up and everything. But it's just how you like to be, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Cushions on the settee have to be arranged in a certain way, yeah. I even find the tea towel in the kitchen. I'm really messy, but I like the tea towel to be folded, you know. Mad, isn't it, really?
Oh, look behind you, my container of boxes.
Sorry, I can't. Oh, yeah. Well, that's seriation as well, isn't it? Okay, I think we'll continue. Got a few more examples. This was being on top. So this was Reese placing cars on top, but obviously children will place themselves on top. One-to-one correspondence, again, this was Reese. He was coordinating, enclosing and creating a line here. And his sister was counting and he was kind of almost copying her, but lining up anyway. This is Harry connecting and with it in his language, making a one-to-one correspondence. I don't know if you can hear it well enough, but.
Not mine yet.
That one's mine?
Yeah.
Great, okay. That not.
Not marked. That balls.
Balls. I don't think Paul's coming. Georgia was meant to come, but she hasn't come, has she?
And that ball you today.
Yeah.
So you can see his thinking there. So there's chairs around the table and he's allocating them to people in the family. So that's one-to-one correspondence in his thinking. This was Anya making a one-to-one correspondence with some toys and cards. And with other stuff, she did it quite a lot, actually. She loves maths. You'll see in the case study, which is going to be released tomorrow. So these are the counting principles. Now, I was really grateful when I came across these because it really breaks down what counting is and what children have to learn. So the stable order principle, so the order of the numbers is fixed, and that's not difficult to learn because we tend to teach children to count from 1 to 10 and, you know, they get that. The one-to-one principle is a little bit harder. The cardinal principle is that the last number that you count is the number of objects in the set. The order irrelevance principle is much more difficult. So you can count in any order, but you'll come up with the same amount if you make a one-to-one correspondence. And then, as I've mentioned already, the arrangement of the objects is irrelevant, which leads to an understanding of conservation of number. So spread out or close together, the number is equivalent. And I think this is really, really useful. I now have a little bit of video of Nicole when she was 5. So I'd like you to listen and just try and pick up what she's understanding now at this age.
Good treat for her.
It's a good treat for her, isn't it?
Yeah,
Especially when she's been at work.
secret.
Yeah, it'd be a surprise, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I'm not sure how many there'll be. I think that one's a bit...
I'm helping it
You are helping it, aren't you?
get down. Okay, chocolate ready. We want chocolate. Okay.
So once all those lumps have gone, you'll be able to put your cornflakes in.
Cornflakes.
This cereal.
Yeah.
That's what you mix in. Whoops, careful. I hold that one.
Make sure all the bases are gone.
Make sure
All of the bases are gone.
all the lumps are gone when it all gets to liquid.
What liquid?
Well, it's turning into liquid, isn't it?
What this?
Mm-hmm. It's getting all runny, isn't it?
More gooey.
It's getting gooey, isn't it? Mm.
Gooey cake.
Mm.
Wonderful crunchy.
Yeah. Gently. I'm trying to just... That'd be enough, I should think. Okay, pop it on the side.
I made them like these ones. I'm making this.
You are? You know what to do now, don't you?
Yeah. Does Mummy know what to do?
Probably. I think so. She knows how to make cakes.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
14 so far. And a few more, probably. This is a good one to think about what is coordinated, you know.
I'll count them out then. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
Oh,
That's all.
15.
And then we'll
I'm going to stop it there because I think a lot of the learning, you can see what she's learnt and what schemas she's using. But what do you think of how she did the counting? Is that what you would expect? Or if you were counting them, how would you do it?
How old was she in that video?
Sorry?
How old was she in the video?
How old was she? I
Was
missed
five,
it.
yeah.
5, yeah. So she can't quite conserve the number.
Yes.
Pretty average for her age, isn't it?
Yeah, you've got it.
Can't
Yeah.
remember the 14, so she's had to go back and
Just
count
add
again.
one on, yeah, yeah. Which I think is quite interesting because she's, you know, she's got a lot of it. She's doing the one-to-one correspondence. She knows the last number is the total, doesn't she?
Yeah, but that bit always comes a bit later, doesn't it? The conservation of number.
Sorry?
It always comes a little bit later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think it's interesting, isn't it? And arrange them in rows to organise accounting. Yeah, she went back to the beginning. Yeah, that was interesting. Yeah, to notice that. Right, so I've got a few more slides. No more video, I don't think. I just wanted to alert you to Piaget's work. Constructivism is the overarching theory that I find useful. So it's about adapting to the environment in which we find ourselves and construing our understanding from our experiences. And this is a quote from Piaget, but also from research on the brain. Now, this book by Healy is actually for parents, but it's a really good book. What makes synapses and neural networks form? Active interest and mental effort by the child are major factors. So every response helps to make more connections. So it's important to remember that. So if you're trying to teach something that the child's not interested in, they're not actually going to learn very much. And then this one, which I think relates to schemas, like a pathway through a forest, the neural traces are at first faint. Then with successive trips, the trail becomes more distinct and easier to traverse. The more exercise the system does, the more automatic and expert it becomes. And you know yourself, if you're learning to drive, ride a bike, type, anything that takes a lot of practice, you know, it then becomes automatic, doesn't it? And you don't even know how you did it. So that's the same for children. So I was asked to explain assimilation and accommodation, because these are the words you'll come across in the literature. So assimilation is taking on new ideas that fit into what is already known. And I think the clue's in the word, with similar in the middle. That's what reminds me. An accommodation is when there's a sort of jar, a perturbation, and what's known needs to expand to accommodate new information or experiences. So we are disequilibrated, and then we go back into equilibration when the perturbation is removed and things are back in balance. I mean, the best example I've got is Harry used to like containing things, and he used to keep his cars in a cardboard box. And one day he was running around with his cars in the box when the bottom fell out, and he was gobsmacked at first. So that's the perturbation. And then he started to notice tunnels and things that had a way through. So he became more interested in the going through part of it. But, you know, you'll see that all the time, and with yourself as well, if you have to accommodate to something new. This is Chris Athey, who was my guru, and this is her explanation of schemas. A pattern of repeatable behaviour into which experiences are assimilated and that are gradually coordinated. Forms of thought up to about the age of 5 or 6 are usually called schemas, and from 6 onwards they're called concepts because they become more complex, don't they? So we've seen a lot of children's actions. We've seen a little bit of the symbolic play where children make marks or make something, say something in their language that suggests to you they understand something. Functional dependency is a little bit like cause and effect, but not quite. So that idea of transformation feeds on this functional dependency. So when children understand that the action they make is going to result in something, that's a functional dependency relationship. So say they're throwing a bean bag over a wall or something, and they know that it's going to go over the wall or over a net or something like that, and then thinking. Now, Chris defines thinking as being able to talk about something in the absence of reminders, but I'm inclined to think that even babies think. So it's a tricky one, that, but you know, you will notice in children's language how much they're understanding. I've got some examples anyway. This is one I've used when I've been in the room with people, and you could just think about it. Can you describe how to crawl on all fours, or do you have to get down on the floor and do it? What do you think? It's a funny one, isn't it?
You have to mentally put yourself through it, don't you?
It's quite a hard one, actually, yeah. Easier to demonstrate. I totally agree. Yeah.
Well then, Jessica, let's see.
Yeah, we want to see. But that's an example of something that's quite hard to just make symbolic, isn't it? To make it in your language. Someone else put a laughy face. Yeah, that's quite a hard one. Okay. So I wanted to be able to get us to think about conceptual development. I'm kind of leading up to this. So, you know, the outcome, a child counts reliably from 0 to 20. Well, a parrot can do that, I think, but to understand it properly. So I think in order to count reliably from 0 to 20, they need to learn about the form of counting that can be applied to any objects in the world. So they explore in lines. They need to understand that it goes from small, bigger, biggest, that's seriation. They need to understand one-to-one correspondence, which I've mentioned, and they need to learn the number names and apply them in a set order and understand that the final number is the total amount. So this is very similar to Gelman and Gallistel's, but just looking through a schema lens, really, which I think you'll agree is, so what do we want for children? Do we want a race or a journey? Do we want a quick route of counting from 0 to 20 to tick a box? Unfortunately, that may be encouraged to meet results. Or do we want a deep understanding of and an interest in quantity, a real feel for maths? Maths are complex and children need time to explore at a deep level as well as widely. So these are just some ideas of how we can supply experiences to feed those sorts of schemas that are involved in numbers. So you've got loose parts, various sizes, shapes, weights, different modes of transport, seriation, the same objects in different sizes so that children can sort them into increasing sizes So families of animals, play people, seriated jugs and spoons, stories like The Three Bears. There's probably loads of stories, but that's a very familiar one. One-to-one correspondence opportunities, so various games, mancala, sharing snacks, playing cards. My daughter has a story about Harry when he was in school, and the teacher got in touch with his parents and said he couldn't do the number bonds. So Colette said, well, what do you mean, number bonds? And the teacher said, well, he doesn't understand that 9 and 1 make 10 and 8 and 2 and so on and so forth. And she said, but he can play pontoon. So he was way ahead of what the teacher was asking him, I think. And she gave her a due. She brought in a pack of cards and played pontoon with him in order to check that he could understand how to put numbers together, and he could, and he's an accountant now, so So conversations about numbers, I think, are really important. I mean, ages, I've had children. Sean King used to sit next to me at lunchtime, and every day he used to say, how old are you, Cath? And I think at the time I was 51. And he used to tell me how old each member of his family was, his grandparents, his parents, and everyone. And he was really interested in ages. Our Ezra, my great-grandson, is very interested in ages. So he said to me a little while ago, it must have been a couple of years ago, who's your dad? And I said, well, he was called Tom, but he died a long, long time ago. And he said, how old is he? And I said, well, he was 57 when he died. And he said, yeah, but how old is he now? And when I worked out, I said, well, he would be 108. And he said, same as Gordon. I said, who on earth is Gordon? That's my husband's father. He'd asked him the same question. So, children can go way ahead of where we are with those sorts of things. So you've got shoe sizes, house numbers, heights, phone numbers, passwords. They probably know all of them. Remote controls, clocks, watches, time, number rhymes. And these are a few of my resources that I use for those purposes. That's Mancala up in the left corner, if you can see it. So these are things that children can arrange to learn more about number, or to have conversations about numbers. So thinking about another thread, seriation, it doesn't only apply to size, but can also apply to any aspect, quiet to loud, light to heavy. So a definition of seriation is it refers to the ability to sort objects or situations according to any characteristic such as size, colour, shape, or type. And this is some conversations that Gabby had. So Anya's 2 years younger than Gabby. She was making comparisons between her and Anya about being bigger and smaller. She was playing with animals and calling them baby bear and big bear. And her conversation with them was, you're smaller than me. When she was playing with a hair clip, there was a competition to see who had the loudest voice. Then she pretended to be Teddy, shouting loudly and saying, he winned. Animals talking, I am 4. You're only 3. I am only 2. Then my dad's bigger than you. Matching big animals with smaller counterparts. This is the daddy, this is the baby, this is the sister. So you might not think this links, but it very much does. She played out a story with a giraffe, asking each animal, have you seen my son? After several no's, she came to a foal and said, my son. And then, actually, you're not my son, you're a horse. So that's categorizing, isn't it? Looking at a dinosaur book, making up a story, big, big, big teeth and big, big, big feet. Later on, she referred to light and dark butter contained in pale pink and cerise cups, so the colour aspect as well. So these observations confirm that children are working on several ideas at once, but not necessarily coordinating their ideas. With regard to seriation, I thought about adjectives and the comparative and superlative forms, so big, bigger, biggest. So we have to use that language with children for them to, you know, take it on if they're interested. If children have many experiences of using these forms, they will be more able to abstract from their experiences and to use them in their language and thinking. Sorry, I'm rushing a bit now, I think.
Please don't know. We've got half an hour.
So, okay. Okay,
Yeah.
At 3 years, 9 months, this was Gabriella noticing her own development and growth. She frequently comments on what she can reach and compares it with her cousin Anya, who's 2 years younger. My legs are getting longer. I can reach the balls in the ball pool. Anya can't reach them because her too little. So her language hasn't caught up with her knowledge. She's interested in the seasons and the months, and she knows it's her birthday in the summer. So that's a start, isn't it, of understanding those sort of sequences? Okay. Another difficult and complex concept is time. So what aspects of the concept of time do children work on? And how can they access the concept of time? So I've got some illustrations there that show how time is represented by us. You know, the flow of sand in an hourglass can be used to keep track of time. I mean, lots of games. We were playing Articulate the other day, and you have a little egg timer so that you explain within, I think it's 30 seconds or whatever. But, you know, if you use stuff like that, children then there's something concrete they can see that tells them about time. I think time's a really difficult concept. I know one of my memories about starting school was I was given a bar of chocolate because I knew how to tell the time. My dad had taught me at home. I was obviously interested, otherwise, you know, it wouldn't have cropped up. But yeah, so this is from Piaget's research. He was interviewing a 4.5-year-old. Who's older? Me, because I'm the bigger one. So it sounds very logical, doesn't it? When you're grown up, which one of you will be older than the other one? Which one? Don't know. Also thought Granny and Mummy stay the same age because they're old. At first, children seem to equate growing with aging. Harry was only disequilibrated when he realised that his paternal grandmother, who was 10 years older than me, was a lot smaller than me. He was puzzled by this at first, and he had to accommodate to the idea that age and height do not always correlate. So, but these conversations kind of help, don't they? Another puzzle of Harry's was, he said, Uncle Paul's got 2 cats. So he'd seen Jasper the kitten, and then a few months later, Jasper the cat. And he couldn't grasp at first that they were one and the same. So that idea of growth, we have this conversation so much at school. That's brilliant. Brilliant. So this was a Georgia puzzle. Georgia's my eldest granddaughter. Her best friend at nursery was Steph. So she wanted to know, is Steph 3 or 4? And her mum said, 3, nearly 4. I think she'll be 4 in October or November. Georgia, when me going to be 4? January the 26th. Me going to be 4 first? No, you're not. Why is Steph going to be 4 first? Because she was in her mummy's tummy before you were in mine. Why? That's a typical conversation, isn't it? So think about what are the aspects that children might need to learn and what could help them. What do you think could help them to learn about time? So order and duration seem to be concepts, and you're working very much on order, aren't you, and duration, really. Beginning and end points, speed, duration is a relative concept. So you might have, you know, snack time might be, or playtime, or might be shorter than another time. just depends really, doesn't it, what your idea is really. So this is my final slide, I think. Implications for practice, yes. So resources that extend form as well as content is how we can help children feed the schema. Language that tunes into the form of thinking. Stories that match the form of thinking. And I think it does improve relationships between adults and children, whether it's parents or workers, as a result of understanding the children and what they want to explore. Each child's identity as a learner is strengthened when they're motivated to explore, and that's encouraged and enriched. So I really think that knowing about schemas gives you a lot more scope, I think, to extend the learning and have those kind of conversations and things. So questions from you, they're the books that I've written. So the top left is about Georgia. And as I say, she's 33 and she's got 2 children. Mm-hmm. Harry is 31 and he lives with his girlfriend in Stevenage and is an accountant at EasyJet. Understanding schemas and emotion. Oh, that's good. One child asked me how many hours, so I show him with my fingers each time he asks. That's brilliant. We've used labelled pegs on the clock before, yeah. I think a clock, an old-fashioned clock's helpful as well. Understanding schemas and emotions is about my PhD. Doing your child observation study is obviously for students. And then observing Gabby has 59 video clips online that accompany the book. So that's my most recent book. And I've also edited a book. Oh God, what's it called? Our new one, the one by 10 of us.
Schemas, isn't it? Isn't it just called Schemas?
Understanding. Trying to remember the title. It's terrible, isn't it? Have you got it there, Fliss?
Here it is. Schemas in the early years.
Oh yeah. So this one, I don't know if you can see it actually, can you?
Yeah, there we are.
Schemas in the early years has been written by 10 people. It was published last year. So it's got chapters focusing on different aspects. So that's the one that Indy's in, my great-granddaughter. So we've got time for questions. We've got about 12, 13 minutes, haven't we? Yeah. So please, any questions you've got or any comments, I really welcome them because I learn from you as well as you learn from me.
You can either pop them in the chat or feel free to
come
and speak.
Whichever. Yeah.
I always find it fascinating, Cath, when you're talking, and it just makes, I don't know, the way you present it, the way you think about the children, it just brings like a peace. There's like a tranquility and the opportunity to really think deeply and to listen to what children are doing.
Yeah. It's the biggest learning, isn't it,
Absolutely.
really? Yeah.
And
but I think a lot of these people, they've got, they've got some good practice from what they're saying.
Definitely. And it's interesting that people are using strategies when children are anxious. And I know next week you're going to be talking about schemas and emotions.
Yeah.
And I always remember what Karen John says about how emotions flood cognition.
Yeah.
And actually, when you are in that emotive state, you can't necessarily think or process. Or so it's, in terms of giving strategies like visual timetables and children the time.
Yeah, absolutely. And listening to that. I mean, why questions? I absolutely love them. We used to have a whiteboard up in nursery. I don't know if they still do, where we used to put children's questions up on the whiteboard so that when parents came in, they could see, work on what children were asking as well. Thank you, Mother.
So guys, you don't have to stay online if there's nothing else that you'd like to contribute,
No, that's
or there's
fine,
no
yeah.
other questions. I say that Cath is back next week.
Yeah,
thinking about
next
schemas.
Tuesday, yeah, to talk about
So-
schemas and emotions.
So if there's any ruminations between now and next week, we can
Yeah.
always bring that into next week's conversation
Yeah,
as well.
definitely, yeah.
So please do feel
Yeah.
free to enjoy the rest of the sunshine, and but equally, if people want to hang back, that's absolutely fine. We are
Yeah.
here till 6:30.
Yeah,
So whatever
definitely.
you would like to do.
Yeah.